Welcome back to The Explainer. We've got a fantastic deep dive today. We're taking a look at a kindergarten phonics curriculum from Crimson Grove titled H is for Happy Helpers. And honestly, it is such a great look into how modern early childhood education is blending basic hard literacy skills with crucial character development. Let's get right into it. But first, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the lesson plan, what do a happy hippo, a hovering helicopter, and a helpful hero all have in common? Well, aside from being super fun to say, they are all anchored by that distinct, breathy consonant sound that kicks off our entire exploration today. All right, moving into Section 1, the learning focus, building a foundation. So, this part of the curriculum is essentially the educator's blueprint. The goals are mapped out really clearly for us. We're going to learn the letter H, identify the H sound, engage with featured vocabulary, read some simple sentences, and of course, practice writing. It perfectly structures the student's journey, taking them from basic auditory recognition all the way up to practical reading and writing application. But here's what's absolutely brilliant. Take a look at the overarching theme the designers chose. It's not just about memorizing a letter, right? It's completely centered on helping others, kindness, teamwork, friendship, and caring hearts. By focusing on being happy helpers, learning a simple letter becomes this profound lesson about empathy. Children are absorbing these massive positive social-emotional lessons right alongside their foundational phonics. That brings us to Section 2, Meet the Letter H, Discovering the Sound. Here, we transition from that big, abstract theme right down to the atomic level of language. The curriculum invites the kids to say the sound out loud. And actually, let's just do it together right now. H says, huh, huh, huh. It's active, it's vocal, and it immediately gets the learners physically engaged with the material. They aren't just staring at a page, they are actively experiencing the sound. Next up, Section 3, H, Words and Stories, Expanding Vocabulary. Okay, so once that raw sound is locked in, the lesson starts connecting it to tangible, real-world concepts. We have 20 featured vocabulary words here, and notice how they're broken down into these clever categories. We've got animals like horse and hippo, actions like hide and hike, everyday things like a hammer or helicopter, and then beautiful abstract concepts like happy and hero. Grouping them like this is a total game changer. It helps a child's developing brain build mental maps for much easier recall. From there, the curriculum weaves these standalone words into playful mini-narratives, like the hippo splashed in the hot water. Presumably because, hippos need spa days too. It proves that early phonics practice doesn't have to be totally dry. It can be vividly descriptive and, above all, fun. And then you see a sentence like, happy helpers make the world brighter. This is just masterful. It perfectly ties the vocabulary and reading practice right back to that overarching social-emotional theme of kindness and teamwork we were talking about earlier. All right, on to Section 4, Practice Exercises, Interactive Learning. Now we transition into almost a game show portion of the explainer. In Exercise 2, children have to match written words, like hat, house, and horse, to their corresponding pictures. It forces them to draw active cognitive connections, so they're moving beyond just sounding out the words to actually understanding their real-world meaning. Now for Exercise 3, I'm going to pause for just a beat so you can mentally fill in the blanks yourself exactly like a kindergarten student would. Got it? Right. By identifying that missing initial letter, students reinforce their visual recognition and link that sound right back to familiar words. It's fantastic for building confidence through active problem solving. And then Exercise 4 is this great read and color activity featuring sentences like the hat is on the table and the horse is near the hill. I absolutely love this because it highlights a multi-sensory approach to learning. Reading the sentence engages their linguistic decoding skills, while coloring the corresponding picture is actively engaging fine motor skills and spatial awareness all at the same time. Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, the tracing page, putting pen to paper. This is where we get to the physical, tactile act of actually forming the letters. And as you'll see, it follows a very logical progression. It starts with simple straight-line uppercase letters, then moves to slightly more complex lowercase shapes, and finally connects those letters to form full words. It builds those fine motor skills sequentially, making sure the student never feels overwhelmed. And right at the end of the tracing page, the curriculum shares this wonderful, encouraging message: happy helpers keep learning every day. This bakes positive reinforcement right into the DNA of the design, gently reminding the student that learning is this ongoing, totally joyful process. The source actually concludes with a quote from Elementary Education Explorer, E.T. Mufor, who says, "Helping hands build bright minds." And as the source notes, this entire module flows naturally right after their previous unit, G is for growing greatness. It just goes to show what a highly thoughtful, interconnected curriculum design looks like. It's continually uplifting the student. So that brings us to a final, pretty provocative question I want to leave you with. How does anchoring foundational skills to social themes shape the kind of people our children become? When a simple, everyday phonics lesson also teaches empathy and what it means to be a happy helper, we are literally building character alongside literacy. That's a real game changer. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.